Become a man of distinction with Rugged Evolution Beard Care. Order our scented beard oils and beard balms to help you maintain and grow the perfect beard. Order today. Try our men's care products like the full body exfoliating cleansing bars, body wash, smooth stash, and more. Log on to our website or download our app to place your orders. Rugged Evolution Beard Care. We're your luxury but affordable men's care line. And remember,
rugged is the new smooth.
Hey, we starting now. I'm starting with the left. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to our Smooth Club Podcast, the show where everyday men discuss everyday topics. I'm your guy, Arrington Gavin. With me, I got over here Mr. Zach Johnson.
What's going on?
Mr. Jonathan Jones.
What's good?
Mr. Rock Fox. Yo. Fellas, how's everybody feeling today?
Good, man.
Hey, I like the style right now. I see Zach over here.
Oh, thank you, brother.
My wife's pants.
Hey.
I mean, not my wife's pants.
Y'all go on walks every morning and stuff.
They were.
That's a set. That goes with a set. I feel like
This is a matching. It's a whole. It's just too much red.
Yeah.
But yeah, fellas, we got a great show today. So I have my good friend, Mr. Charles Corprew, Dr. Charles Corprew. He's host of What's Your Revolution podcast. He's a developmental psychologist, venture capitalist, awesome dude. Gonna be talking a lot, just what he has going on with his show. His show's been on for about 5-6 years. I'm honored to be a guest on his show. We had a great conversation, and man, just glad to have him on the show. Ways you can support the show, of course. You can check us out on iHeart, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast. You go to our YouTube channel, Radio TV. Also, you can check us out on Roku, on the Global Vision Network. We truly appreciate it. All of our social medias, please support. So, fellas, I want to bring up, I was reading a tweet that KD had put out saying, guys like Stephen A, Skip, Shannon, they're putting a bad rep for basketball. They're putting a bad rep for sports, right? And, I think we saw Patrick Beverly on with Stephen A, giving his opinion on some of the athletes, giving his commentary. And I wanted to ask you guys, with a lot of the pro athletes, when they retire and going straight into sports journalism commentary, is it good for sports journalism because, hey, those guys have like the inside scoop really on, that field rather than having, say, a Skip who's strictly just, an experienced journalist that is, his knowledge is sports. Because a lot of guys, they don't like Stephen A. They don't like Skip. They don't like Shannon. They're like, okay, shut up, man. You don't know nothing. Well, Shannon's a different story because, Shannon did play in the NFL.
Right.
But, they really just, they don't like him. There's always beef with him. So what's your thoughts just on, retired athletes going from the field to commentary? I mean, you see Tom Brady signed a hella contract. So.
Yeah. I think you kind of need that balance, of the journalists who didn't play sports with the retired athletes that come in, because you look at Skip and Shannon's show, they always have a, interesting dialogue. And I look at somebody like Kendrick Perkins, he's been putting the work in, man. Somebody that's from Texas, retired, wasn't like the best player, but played with a lot of great players like KD and LeBron and stuff.
He ran with the big three for a little bit too, right?
Yeah, sure did, yeah. Got that Southern drawl. Back in the day, somebody who talks the way he does wouldn't get a chance to be on a sports network like ESPN or anything like that. So I kind of like how it's evolving, but as long as you put the work in, like Patrick Beverly, he came in, he went on that rant about CP3 and stuff.
Patrick came like what he played, man. Always just
he was. But then my problem with that was, okay, that's cool, whatever. But when he was talking about the issue with James Harden, he wasn't really critiquing him because that was his boy. You know what I'm saying? So if you are a retired athlete, I think you still got to put that work in, that to look up on the stats and everything like that, look at the analytics, but at the same time, everything's not about the analytics. It's about,
I definitely think there's a fine line because, like, I remember during like the Super Bowl time, and some of them like guys who only played like a couple years. Like, I think if you doing that, you need to have played for a certain amount of time. Because some of those dudes that was playing a couple years, and then they were talking about, oh, this is Josh Allen's gonna surpass Patrick Mahomes. If he wins, he surpasses Patrick Mahomes. No, he hasn't.
Yeah.
Like, say those outrageous things. Like, I know you need your ratings, but like, you just trying to shake up something to get your foot in the door. But those guys, I'm like, you just saying stuff just to talk to nobody knows
When
it's
I grew
true.
up, I always thought it was part of professional sports. Like I thought it was just part of the leveling up in sports. After your active duty, you get on the show. I thought that was just the thing. If you still got the right mind enough, if you ain't got your brain rattled.
That's a good point.
Let me tell you, if you're not doing that, then you made it to another level.
Boxers.
Right.
For real though.
You don't see a lot of retired boxers.
Facts.
You know what I mean? So if you still got your P's and Q's together, I feel like that's the next level of professional sports. And it's needed. It'd be weird without it.
And see, I was telling JJ earlier today, like, to just on my opinion, I'm thinking like, okay, journalism and sports journalism currently is like, okay, 40%, I'm speaking strictly, from my knowledge based on, on the sport analytics, all that stuff. 60% is opinionated. So they're going to be sharing their opinion. So for the fact if the players react that they don't like, bro, that's their opinion. Yeah. It's don't take it so, because a lot of people don't like Skip, a lot of people don't like Stephen A.
Right.
I mean, I'm a fan of both of them.
Yeah.
I really like them undisputed with Skip and Shannon. Now Shannon started to get beef from athletes. I'm like, Shannon ain't the one you want to F with, man,
right.
because Shannon look like he can still play.
Oh,
Shannon
he can.
Like he can still play.
That
He's in better shape now than
he
was in the league. And so he's speaking, from, hey, I played 17, I think he played like 17, 14 years, something like that in the league. Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champ. How can you not just, at least respect this gentleman's opinion rather than saying, well, you ain't play, you don't know what it is.
I had
like
Shannon on my Madden. Like,
real talk. Backyard football.
Oh my God. Blitz, the blitz. You got the scale on walls. You got guys like, Tom Brady already announced when he retires, I don't know when that's going to be, but when he retires, the man is getting paid like $37 million a year off of.
He wants to die on that football field.
Hey, you know what? But I tell you one thing though. Once I signed that contract, I made up my mind.
Right.
Because that's unheard of when it comes to just for a season. That's not for the year round. That's just for the
and
football
you still
season.
Playing,
right?
And you already got your next job.
You got a lot of current athletes
but
now
see,
too.
I don't know if I can watch Tom Brady or LeBron settle for announcer. Sports analyst, it just don't feel right. It don't feel right. It's like Michael Jordan don't do it, and that's cool. I'm happy he don't, because I would look at him as like all right, now you're just a commoner. Like now you're just some people don't need to do it.
I definitely see LeBron coaching. I could see LeBron coaching, but I don't really see Tom Brady coaching.
I don't know. It's so hard because they're a leader on the field, so it takes a leader. To always say, hey, look, I'm to be a coach. But like I remember Jason Witten. I think he's now retired, but he tried his foot in the broadcasting booth. Didn't work out. Tony Romo's doing it. He's only getting paid. Tony's doing all right. He's making a career. Troy Aikman, those guys. Shaq and Shaq, Ernie.
That's
money.
Shaq doing good.
Shaq's always a personality.
Shaq is a person. He's an entertainer.
For real.
It's his alley right there.
If you would have told me Shaq would have been one of the favorite persons to watch talk about sports a few years ago,
hilarious, bro.
I'll be thinking you dumb as
him and Chuck, man.
That's probably like one of the best analysis shows. Like the chemistry they got on that is probably like one of the best.
Priceless, bro.
It's gonna suck when they retire, bro. Because
who's after them?
Right.
It's like who can. Well, look, Patrick Beverly, would he be in that mix? Well, you see, Draymond got his podcast. Like,
they've had him up there.
It's good. I watch it.
People critiquing him though because they think he's more worried about his podcast than playing the game.
Of course,
he'll play a bad game and go straight to the podcast. But at the same time, I feel like you should have the freedom to do that if you want to.
Y'all ever check out Kevin Garnett? Y'all ever check out? He has like a little.
Oh yeah.
He's in it with the whole commentary. But
I don't watch Kevin Garnett.
Yeah.
The person who looked like him took one of my high school crushes.
Oh man.
I never recovered. I've seen we had beef with tall people ever since.
How does she look now, though?
Oh, she's horrible looking.
So so you good. It won't meant to be.
I still got that little animosity.
got you.
I don't follow him on Instagram. It's like,
that's how it is. But it's okay. Sometimes it's a short thing for me. I don't like too much. No. You know, admiring his shoes. Look at some of these are 15s.
Chill, bro.
Why you make his voice so deep?
I feel like tall people got a deep voice. I'm sorry.
You're right. When I do tall people voices, I do that.
Y'all crazy, man.
Look like yeah. Y'all crazy, man.
See, look.
Shoot. But I wanted to bring it up because it's always going to be that beef between players and commentators. They're looking at them as the press. They're looking at them as the critics more than they're analyzing the sports.
Yeah.
So
it's because that bandwagon thing though. It's like think about how the bandwagon works. How many people said that they're talking about it right now? Who's the chunky kid? New one, Zion. Zion about his weight, right?
Yeah.
They talking about him so bad. I mean, they are every single time he does anything is about how fat he is.
Yeah.
Now, as soon as he starts playing again and the weight drops and cuts and all that stuff, they're gonna be on his penis like these groupies.
Facts.
And they're gonna completely forget about how they said he was a bust, he's washed.
What's the same with Ben Simmons? Like Ben Simmons when they
I don't think it ain't coming back for him.
Like man, he can worry about dressing all sharp and everything. They criticize him completely. I know Stephen A had a lot to say about him. They were criticizing him.
And then when they winning again, it's like, I've always said that they're the best player. And
But people followers though, they gonna follow it. What's the hot topic?
Well,
right
and then the media's gonna find what is the rating? What's the bring rating? Because for example, we can speak on all the mass shootings that we've had on the mainstream level. Yeah. Those news programs they play that 24/7. It's like okay, we know it's happened. Can we speak on something else? They stretch it out because they know that the sad part is, but hey. Sorrow brings ratings to major news networks. Now, when it comes to sports, they're starting to kind of gravitate because there's a lot of sports commentators saying, I'm going to go more to the political side and do this. I'm going to bring politics into sports or I'm going to do this and that. So, it's just all about, what's the ratings getting, man? People like a little controversy.
Yeah. I know, we need, the analysts and stuff, but sometimes, they be trying to debate pro athletes who have been in them situations and know what it feels like. And it's like, how are you going to argue with somebody that's been there?
Well, but you know what though, to kind of play a little devil's advocate, I would say you have coaches that were probably never played the sport or even that was awful at playing the sport. Just the fact of the matter is you can still have a great IQ in that sport and still speak on it. You don't have to always be like that.
Yeah. But I'm not even saying at that level. I'm saying
just in general.
Yeah, what did Stephen A play?
Stephen A played in college. He played.
I played in college too.
It was an HBCU. Okay. But I'm just saying
college and NBA is still a very big gap.
It's still, but again,
and that was how long ago?
It was a minute ago, but I'm saying I take it on the IQ level though.
But I'm still gonna take somebody who has played in this current.
I'm not saying I disagree, but I'm saying you got to look at the other side too and kind of say, okay, I can see where he's coming from, rather than just saying, oh, what does he know about? So, but it is true though. At the end of the day, I think it's better to have the athletes that have the insight, just like Patrick Beverly when he was up there speaking on. So
I feel like he speaks on more of emotion than anything.
Yeah.
Well, Patrick he's emotional play. Patrick is he's kind of a journeyman. How many squads he played? He played for about.
When they had him, he was on top of that stand celebrating like they won the championship.
Oh man,
that little thing that TNT did when they had the music going. That was classic. That was classic.
No, when he talked bad about Chris Paul, I was like, ooh.
He been waiting years for that smoke,
because he
oh my goodness.
When they were talking about Karl Anthony Towns, he gave that kiss out. They were like, out of that performance, that's what you just did.
He was Kobe or something.
Yeah, they were clowning him.
I was thinking, you play ball, you played on a collegiate level, right?
I played at Army, D1 at West Point, and then I ended up transferring after I got injured. Played at finished up at the apprentice school, two-time All-American. But I love the game. I just like being around it, man. My thing is, I go to the YMCA just, to be around the little kids, bro. So every morning at 5 a.m.
You probably don't go nothing crazy, don't you? You probably just play.
Well, yeah, I mean. Well, see, what I do, it was cool for me because I still follow my same regiment. I still use my, we had for off-season workouts, we had a binder, and I still got to make 500 shots before I go. start work in the morning. So I get there at like 4 o'clock, you know what I'm saying? But it's cool because the little kids will come up and do my workouts with me. And so it's just kind of like my way to give back with them, you know what I mean? Because there's a few little kids that get up there, their mom takes them every single morning. So we work out and stuff. So that's kind of what it, like, I don't think I could ever be a coach, but I could be like a skills coach. You know what I'm saying?
Look, let me get that 20.
Word. But I wouldn't even do it. I don't even like charging because I feel like so many people gave it to me for free. You know, that's kind of like my duty.
No, that's good.
Back,
That's crazy. You got somebody like that on the panel, and I was the kid who just wanted the jersey. Like, I just give me my Letterman jacket so I can flip these. I mean, so.
All right. So, coming up next is. See, this dude trying to get us in trouble. First, talk about. Did you punch a dog one time?
No, why would you bring that up?
Watch the first episode. Watch the first.
Oh, shoot.
But.
Oh, shoot.
Peter. Hey. We love dogs.
My career didn't even take off yet.
Oh, man.
Man, so look, before we bring on our guest, Dr. Charles Corprew, of course, we got to shout out some of our amazing sponsors. Again, we got some amazing beverages down here. Shoe Crazy Wine. We got Ingenious. Look at that. Shoe Crazy Wine.
Let me post something out real quick.
You can find anywhere. Anywhere where you find wine, you're going to find Shoe Crazy. This is awesome. They're now venturing into the spirit with their own whiskey. They got their own moonshine coming out, and then vodka. So they're really growing, and it's a mother-daughter team, and they're doing some great things. Of course, Ingenious Gin, Black-owned, veteran-owned gin. Good friends to the show, and it's our go-to beverage when we here at the club. So and of course, Dapper Luke Collection. If you want to get some nice custom suits going, you want to hit up our good friend Mr. Luke Haskett, better known as Dapper Luke. You can go on his website, dapperlukecollection.com, or if you're in the Hampton Roads area, you can go to his suite at 3574 Holland Road, Suite 200. We truly appreciate their support of our smooth club. So, fellas, we're gonna take a little. We're gonna bring on Dr. Charles Corprew, our guest.
Cool.
When we get back, let's make some room for him.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Charles, where are you? Oh, there you go.
I'm a master of my mind. Manipulate the masses with motivation to move. This is the only chair I'll volunteer to sit in. Spinning and spinning. Each loop past the mirror, I see a better me. In true destiny, confidence is key, so these 2-week cleanups won't be memories. Hey, barber, do you think it's possible to reshape the temple that holds my thoughts? Shape up in the hub makes me bold my walk, cause sometimes a lineup could be your savior. Do you think it's ironic that I can monetize my work when I stick to the master plan and get my taper? No more thoughts of getting burned by the system, and this new product doesn't burn my taper. Thank you. Let's normalize uncovering our bodies from that sheet, and we look stunning when it comes off, cause we are masters of our mind. Manipulate the masses with motivation to move. Each cut allows more and more room to grow.
All right, y'all. All right, welcome back. So we are honored to have a good friend of mine, host of What's Your Revolution show, that's been on radio, podcasts, and for about 5 years now. Developmental psychologist and also venture capitalist, Dr. Charles Corprew. Welcome. Look at clean, man. Look at the shoes. Look at the shoes.
Don't look at my ankles.
He said it's Taylor.
Got little darts in the bag. It's Taylor. This is old man. This is grown folks right here. Grown exactly. I'm matched. I'm just saying.
Sign it off.
You know what I'm saying? You know? It's all good.
Well, look, we're so excited to have you on here. Welcome to the club.
Thank you, brother.
So, man, Developmental Psychologist, your show, highly popular, What's Your Revolution podcast. For one, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us, where it all started and, where hometown. Let's start with that. Hometown.
Yeah. No, I say it all the time. I am a proud stallion, man. Class of 1989, Green Run High School. That's where it all started.
Wow.
Yeah. I give credence to everything that happened to me in those 3 years at Green Run High School, man. Great teachers, great administration. What it did was allow me to have a worldview, to go out into the world and see people for who they are, instead of looking at race or gender or sexual orientation. Like they taught us how to see people.
Wow.
And this word about equity that everybody's talking about now, they practiced equity back in the late 80s. And so we were able to go out into the world, man. The superintendent of Virginia Beach Public Schools is a graduate of class of 89 of Green Run High School. So many of my classmates are doing revolutionary things in the world because they were able to pour into us. So went on to James Madison, got a degree in history, and then came back and taught in Virginia Beach. Was a baseball coach at Great Neck and Green Run, man. So love baseball, still playing, was up till midnight playing baseball on somebody's field last night.
Damn.
Yeah. One of the greatest
dreams.
things for me was when I was teaching was mentoring people that look like us, like young brothers, and enjoyed that. My last year at Green Run, I had a group called Brothers of the Academy. Okay. And I remember us watching Malcolm X, and I asked them, I was like, "Who's going to be your Malcolm X?" They were like, "You're our Malcolm X." And I was like, "Whoa, yeah." I had to step outside and let the do a little this.
Your eyeballs are sweating.
Yeah, I was sweating. But it was because of them is that I went back to school and got my PhD at Tulane University in developmental psychology, psychological science, and I wrote extensively on the experiences of young Black men. And this term that everybody was billing to us was hypermasculine. Black men are hypermasculine. They're oversexed, they're thugs, they're lethargic, they're uneducated. And I wanted to change the narrative. So I began writing about these positive experiences, like what you all are doing right here. It's interesting that the conversation that we had in the green room was like so uplifting because I forget that I'm actually older than you all.
He was surprised we used cocoa butter.
Yeah.
Moisturize
Exactly.
Young man.
But it's good to see, what you all are doing as young men, like telling these stories and engaging with each other and having these positive experiences that the world needs to see. And so I wrote about that. And then several years ago, I decided to start my own podcast, the What's Your Revolution Show, to be able to interview dope men like you, and dope men like you all. So I just want to give a shout out to.
You just left that me.
Look, and I'm gonna let you have it. You got one more.
One more. I just want to give a shout out to you because one of our favorite episodes actually is. And it's called How to Follow Your Dreams. It's your episode on our show. It's one of the most popular episodes that we have. So thank you for coming on. The show means so much to me. It's about, as we say, it's dope Black. I interview dope Black men doing dope Black stuff. But yeah, that's my little story, man. And just trying to be out in the world. I'm out. The last thing is that I work in venture capital, and I get to fund early stage startups that are built by people of color. So it is a wonderful opportunity.
But no, that's so awesome because like what I always enjoy just having this time to hang out with my bros. But again, change the narrative is really important just in my life as far as in business on this show. Because you want to help lead by example for the younger generation. You want them to know that there is hope. There's someone that cares. There's that have options, and it's very important. Like what you said, just for small Black-owned businesses, business of color. Because I always say there's so many of us there's so many creators in our culture that just they're hesitant. They're scared. They don't know is it going to be accepted? Well, do I have the funds for it? Things like that. Let me just stay in my place and just stay back. But it's awesome, man. It's awesome. I'm a huge fan. So. Let's talk about what's your revolution. I heard you use the term revolutionary, and you use that a lot, of course, with your brand, with your company. So let's talk about what's your revolution show.
It came about really. I wrote a piece for the Good Men Project a couple years ago, and something that happened. I can't remember the exact thing that happened, and I wrote a piece for them, and there was a brother in Canada. It's called Dr. Vibe. I don't know what his real name is, and he's not a real doctor. But he read the article, and he was like, "Hey, I would love to interview you on this piece." It was something that happened. Something I wrote a piece on police brutality, something around that, and he picked it up, and so we started having this dialogue. He was like, "I love what you're doing." He was like, "Would you come on ever so often?" And so I would be a recurring guest on the Dr. Vibe show. And so he was like, "Look, I want to have you more often. Can we do something together?" Like, okay, let's figure it out. So we started the show. It's called H2H, Hypermasculinity to Healthy Masculinity. Oh, wow. And so we did that for a couple of years, and then a friend of mine, Rachel Graham, was listening to the show. She was like, this needs to be your own show. You need to have a radio show. I was like, well, where? So she sent it to one of her friends who was the head producer at WBOK in New Orleans, where I was working. And it became the What's Your Revolution show. Wow. In January 17, 2017. And I began interviewing local, New Orleanians who I had relationships with, who were Black men who were talking about this transformation in their lives. Like, What's Your Revolution is how are you transforming your life, your community, the world, and how does that story then resonate to other folks so they can build their own revolution? So we have authors, athletes, activists, everything in between to tell this story of what their revolution, how they're changing something in the world. And so, that's what What's Your Revolution is. It's a wonderful opportunity for me to sometimes have therapy, sometimes, laughter, all the things that, allow folks to listen and say, well, how can I answer this question? What's your revolution?
Wow. Man,
that's powerful.
So what I want to ask is, why is it so masculinity in our community? Why is it such a huge thing to say it's so important to be, hey, I'm a man, I'm a man's man, I'm a man? It's so hard to have that stigma rather than just say, hey, look, I have my flaws. I can't do this. I can't change a tire, so that doesn't make me less than a man, right?
No.
All right. See, I thought, anywhere I go.
Triple A.
I got my AAA call.
Me too. Yo, me too.
But seriously though, it's like it's so hard for us to either make our our fathers proud or make our friend just make our friends proud. You want to make a good impression. You don't want to be the joke of the group.
Right.
But seriously, why do you think it consists so hard in the Black community?
So there are a number of things, and your listeners and viewers may not be happy with this, but this it's historical. You think back from slavery, where you had to be this masculine figure to protect yourself and your family, and what it meant to protect your manhood during that period of time. You understand when slaves were punished, there was a whole host of things, particularly for Black male slaves, that were done to them to emasculate them, right? We won't even talk about the physical things that happened. And so you move that into where society and white supremacy have considerably worked to emasculate Black men, to keep them down, to keep the Black family down, to keep Black folks down. And so what has happened from a psychological perspective, in my opinion, is that we have had to create this ideal of what masculinity looks like in our community, right? And it is around strength. It is around what we deem as leadership. It's around sexuality. It's around being rugged, those types of things. But what we've seen, particularly because we've been having more conversations around what it means to be a man and what it means to be a man of color, and we're seeing more folks who are having, the spectrum of masculinity be more accepted, right? And so we're saying I can wear slim pants, right? I can wear a fitted shirt.
I can wear this.
You know what I'm saying? Right. Exactly. I don't have to. Right. I don't have to match. Right. Right. All the things. All those things, because we're seeing.
The audience why are they laughing so hard?
They're is this man gonna cry in the corner after the show?
Why are they laughing so hard?
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying? But I think that the more that we have these conversations around masculinities instead of masculinity, right, then we have the ability to see brothers who they want to be. And so we become more accepting. But, you know, and again, the Black church has also been right one of the ideologues that has portrayed what Black masculinity should look like, right? You think about the Black pastor. Usually, you know, it's the Black male pastor who is leading the flock, right? And leading the flock both mentally and spiritually.
Ushers are mostly females.
Right.
Ushers are mostly females.
Right.
They, you know.
Right. And so, and then you have the first lady of the church, right? And so we have to understand that there's a diversity of masculinity and being able to say, I can be who I want to be. So I think about my brothers and sisters who are LGBTQIA, right? And how we, as Black men, right, we fight so often for like, I want equity, I want peace, but then we don't stand up for our folks in other communities, right, that look like us, but we want our equity, but we actually are the most marginalized, or we provide marginalization to people who are not cisgender, straight, you know, heterosexual folks. And you're like, well, nah, you're not with me. Instead of saying,
started this, it's a game that I play with, you know, me and my daughter. It's like break the meme mug chain, right? And so it's when I'm in predominantly Black areas, Black culture, you know, we doing things that you mostly see where we hanging out at. And instead of doing the meme mug like we normally do, like if me and you just met, we, you know, I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy, but if we was crossing paths at the mall, for some reason we would be,
that is true.
You know what I mean? It's the meme mug, right? So me and my daughter, we purposely find some of the meanest people who we think outside, and we just wave and smile.
Oh,
I wave and smile, and I do it right along with my kid. We just wave and smile until they smile back. And some of these people who smile and wave back are some of the most gangsterous looking, like, I swear you would think Tupac reincarnated was the last person we waved at, and he was like screaming thug like me and my daughter. And he's like, oh, hey, you know what I mean? Like, and that's just me and her, we go around all over the place now. No matter what city we in, no matter where we purposely look for mean looking.
But that's so good though, boss, because it's just the fact that what you're doing is just trying to spread like kindness. It's that kindness conspiracy thing. I say, kindness theory. You want to spread as much kindness as you can because, you know, you're right. I go on a store and I'm like, why are you so frustrated? What, you know, what's
like, why are you so mad?
Exactly.
Like, we both at Farm Fresh getting this chicken. We are doing the same thing. We got the same thing going.
It's the fresh one though. It's the fresh one.
It's the fresh.
Oh, okay. It's been there for a minute. That's probably why they mad.
all dried up.
Dried up and just nasty. That's what it is.
I drove all the way up here.
You're the only one left.
I want some moist chicken. Moist. You know what I'm saying? I want some moist chicken.
Moist.
That's probably why they mad though. But no, that's dope.
Can I say something to what you're saying?
Yeah.
I wrote a piece a couple years called "The Death of the Head Nod." You know, when I was growing up, right, the head nod was this acknowledgement piece, right? And it's like, I see you. You know, I may not know you, and particularly if you're in spaces where there are only a few of us, the head nod was like, I see you, and I got you. And what I feel like has happened is that the head nod is gone because I've been in cities and I'm like head nod and folks look at me like you something wrong with you. And
like what you trying to get into?
Yeah, what you trying to get into? I'm just saying hello. Yeah, and so it's been interesting because I don't know if the cue is there, if it's ingrained in the younger generations. Because when I got to New Orleans, living there, I mean, I was so used to the head. What's up? What's up? You know, head up or head down, something. And they look at me like, and I was like, yo.
Yeah.
But who was giving me the head nod?
Who?
White dudes.
Yeah.
It's not the head. White people, no offense, but they do the head. They do the head
we
down.
Like
they go.
We will love you.
What's up?
And I like it. It just don't feel the same. I say something back, but it don't feel me.
We're like, what did he really?
Why did he go down?
You know. But it's, give me something. So that's why I think if we can get back to acknowledging each other, like you said, like the mean mug, like I got to show you how hard I am. No, you don't, right?
Yeah.
Show me how nice you are, because all right, our communities, right? We're Afrocentric people. We are communal folks, right? And we are built around that, and we've lost that ability to be in community. I mean, I walked in here, didn't know anybody, nobody mean mugged me. We sat for 20 minutes laughing and joking. I don't know y'all, but y'all are family. That's how we should be.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, my bad.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, man, I've noticed, I don't know if it's a sign of, trying to, protection or whatever, you know what I mean? Because my wife gets on me all the time because when we go walk around, I'm talking to everybody, saying what's up. And she might just it might be one of those days she had a hard day. She just wants to, walk, won't feel like talking. Then I'm gonna end up talking to somebody for like 30 minutes, you know what I'm saying? But then I know.
Boy, if you don't come on.
Right. But then I notice if we go in another situation where it might be a rougher part of town or whatever, it's like I'm walking like my no smile at all because I'm trying to make sure people know don't mess with me because I'm about to action. You know what I mean? Or whatever.
Sometimes I pile windows.
Yeah.
I pile windows and door frames. And for those not in the military, when you pile a room, you basically cutting off the section of the door or the opening to see if there's a threat.
Right.
So it's like I catch myself doing it and then I stop. All right, I may smoke a joint. I relax myself, realize, look, I'm with my family.
Yeah.
I'm cool. If something pop off, I'll deal with it.
For sure.
But chances are we safe.
Right, right. But then it's like, people shooting each other for all types of, so I'm like.
To say, I feel like, and all that stuff ties into the fact that everybody wants to be, top dog. Everyone wants to show, hey, I'm in power. Like with the whole, like you said, with the shootings, we were talking about the gun issues going on right now, and just in our area here, a lot of the shootings and massacres are, the victims and the suspects are getting younger and younger, and the reasoning, it's over a girl, it's over somebody did this and did that. It's off of stupid stuff. So, like, again, why is everybody trying to prove like, hey, I gotta be that top dog? Why would we?
So there's an evolutionary perspective. You talked about that. Like down in our brainstem, down at our core, right? We're wired to look for predation, right? Predators, right? So we are evolutionary. I mean, our ancestors were like, hey, is there a lion? Is there something? Is there something coming to eat me? And so we still have that, right? And so when we look at our brain, we process 11 million bits of information per second, right? Right, but we're not conscious of it. But part of that processing is that we're looking for predators, right? We want to stay safe. And so sometimes it's hard to turn that off. And so, also making yourself larger in space says to someone who might be a predator, like, oh, I might not want to mess with you, right? And so the two sides of that coin. And so thinking about that. And so we have to get out of this mindset, right? If I feel safe, I can turn it off. And then what happens when I draw people in? But we because we've been socialized, particularly that Black areas or communities of color are unsafe, we move into the mindset that I've got to protect myself because we've been socialized and we've seen things experienced, right? Trauma that happens in certain communities. But how do we walk into a community with saying, okay, I'm going to be safe, but let others know that I am a part of their safety as well?
I like what you said about masculinities, and not just one masculinity. My question for you would be, do you think there are any like non-negotiables of, because, the guys you talk to, I might talk to my great uncle or something, and he has a, certain perspective of what a man should be, from that time period or whatever. Do you think there's any of that stuff that, is just a non-negotiable, or is it just case by case scenario for each man? Like,
What do you mean by non-negotiables?
Like, if I were to talk to my great uncle or something, he's, Vietnam vet and everything like that, he would be like, man's a provider, has to protect his family, he'd probably say.
If the wife is even making more.
Right.
Like, they make more like,
Yeah.
Stuff like, because that's still, I know in my family, no, man, you might want to lean towards, or get another job or something.
Yeah. Some people might say, had to be faithful. Some people might say that's not a big deal either.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm just curious as to, are there any, any layovers or, from that time period that are still relevant to this day?
I think folks have to decide individually who they want to be, and decide in this, I don't want to say, your bucket of your identity and what you want to adhere to. I think we also have an opportunity to educate our older generations. I think about my family, and we have conversations around some of my family members who are gay, and having that educational conversation with them. Like, you know, one of my family members got married, and my folks were like, "Well, we're not gonna go," and I was like, "No, we're going."
Yeah.
Right, and so I think there is a level of push. Because yes, you grew up in a period of time, but it doesn't mean that how you grew up was the right way. And I also think that we have the ability to educate because we just happen to experience more.
As a child, I used to feel like I wasn't man enough because certain things didn't bother me. So, because my natural brain thinks gay people been around since before we had words to describe gayness. So why should I care?
Yeah.
And because I didn't have those issues, because I was a kid, not making fun of the gay guy here or the butch girl here, or I was cool with this and that and whatever, people were, by association, calling me gay and less of a man and less than this and that. And I was just so confused. I was like, when they have sex, do you come? Do you,
Right.
Like, are you at your house jizzing in your sleep thinking, damn it! Damn it! Jamal and James is humping again. I don't like that. I don't like it. So it's like, it never bothered me. And I grew up in this, it wasn't until I think I turned like 26, 27 when I just gave it up. It's like, you know what? I'm okay with what I'm okay with. And people who feel some other type of way,
that's all.
And it helps you know how you're raised, because like again, like my family raised me, say, hey, treat everybody, everybody the way you want to be treated. Treat everybody with respect, and that's what I did. It was I'm friends with everybody. I don't care what I'm friend, because at the end of the day, you are a human being. You deserve to live the same. You live in the same where you work, just as you work. I hate the whole division we have in our country right now. I hate all that. Classism division, or like, oh, you're this, so you hang on with your crowd. I'm this, you hang. I hate it. I hate it because
differences are meant to be celebrated, not pitched against each other. Differences is meant to be like, oh, that's your culture. This is dope to experience. Experience mine.
That's the thing that I feel like a lot of media and stuff that get caught up in is people are so invested in other people's lives. It's like me when I was younger, I had too much going on with myself and my family. It's like I'm not worried about what somebody else's life is like. It's like why are you? Like you said, we all come for different experiences and stuff. It's like, why are you that invested? Like, worry about your life. That's the thing, is like people that get caught up in these like the trials and stuff, and like they want to know this. I'm like, I want to live my life, and I'm not worried about somebody else's next step in life. Like I'm around trying to worry about myself. So like that's the thing I think people get caught up in.
You know, and what I found out in a lot of the situations where it was somebody who was bullying somebody, like you were saying, for being gay or thinking that they were gay at an early age, you know, a few years go by, and those are actually the people that end up sometimes being gay because they were struggling with that, and they didn't know how to, you know, so they thought the only way they could deal with it was to, you know, joke on, you know, reflecting on somebody else. Exactly.
It's sometimes the same. Well, I mean, you can take it however, but like, for example, when you have interracial relationships, regardless of which person is, like, I would say Caucasian, they're like, well, my family, we never really liked, you know, or they never was fond of black people, but, you know, all I date is, you know, black people. So it's like, it's different. It's the fact that I've always done it, but I was scared.
My grandpa white.
You said what?
White. Yeah, my grandpa white. My grandma remarried, married this white guy named Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Like, the marriage happened before I was like cognitive.
Yeah.
But I love my grandpa Tom. But it turns out like the rest of the family can't stand up.
Really?
Can't stand up. And I'm like, it's just white grandpa Tom.
Yeah.
Well, like, I remember, like,
I don't get it.
Like JJ and I, like, growing up in like middle and high school, like we went to predominantly white school, but we were friends with everybody. But you did have the crew that were, you know, the all black kids that hung in their corner with just individuals. They did not want to socialize. If they did, they were very quiet based. I'm like, talk, socialize. What's up? So it was.
There was still definitely in that hard type of like, you still got to prove yourself. Just, I mean, because like a lot of them had transferred, like dealing at those schools, like the public schools, like how it was, but at our school, ain't none of that going on.
It was just great. I mean, hey, like I said, I was friends with everybody. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna see a lot of y'all for the remainder of the year. So I'm like, hey, I might as well be friends with you. We were close relationships. But so Doc, I want to talk more about venture capitalists. You were saying that how you help start up businesses. Where did that path? Because I think it's very important.
Yeah,
Let's talk. Let's definitely
Yeah,
talk
man,
about that.
I appreciate that. I just want to cap this off one
Okay.
second. Like, if we think about folks having the human experience, like, think about that. What does it mean to be a human? And I think that's where I have been with my experiences with folks. What's your human experience, and how can I learn from you to have a better human experience, right? And thinking about that, and so that just plays into, we think about this. Think about the ideas that you all have, right? And the ability to then bring those ideas into fruition. But oftentimes, right, we think about this, where's the capital to do that? And particularly for us, folks that look like us, we don't have the large friends and family rounds, right? Where, hey, I'm gonna go to Uncle Tom or Grandpa Tom. I'm gonna go to Charles and Bertha. I'm gonna go to friends, and I can raise a $500,000, or $1 million friends and family round, which typically happens in white communities, right? If we think about the family household income, right? It's less than $7,000 for Latinx and Black families, over $120,000, right, and more for white families. So when you think about when you're thinking about creating a business that is actually going to shift the dynamics of folks' lives, right, where you get the capital to do that. And so my life has been this series of, you think about building. It's always right, and you see this analogy of the baby walking on the plank. Right, I don't know if y'all, I might be too old, I might be too, right? There's this baby walking on a plank, right? And the baby's about to fall off, and then the next tier comes in, right? And that's how my life has been, right? I've been walking on a plank, right? And almost about to tip over, and then the next thing comes.
Wow.
And so what happened is I started a social enterprise venture in 2015, really working for, and around Black males to create equity, to create opportunities in schools where we were making sure that discipline wasn't hampering how we were experiencing, right? How we were having a human experience. Wow. And so 3 years in, I was like, I'm literally tired of trying to change white folks' minds around creating opportunities for Black men to succeed, right? I just don't want to do this anymore. And so I'm about to tip off, and this opportunity to work for Camelback Ventures, which is started by my good friend Aaron Walker in 2013, because he had this idea around that genius is equally distributed, opportunity is not, right? And so thinking about that, genius is equally distributed, but opportunity is not. And so all of you all have something in you that is going to allow you to be great. Like just listening to your story, right? You shifted your life because there was something great in you. There's so many ideas within us, but how do we then fund those ideas? Because oftentimes we can't bootstrap. And so that's what Camelback Ventures does. And Aaron said, look, I need somebody with a little bit of gravitas to lead our accelerator. Our accelerator is that friends and family round where we're bringing in 12, 13 ventures a year to say, hey, we're going to give you support, capital, community, all the things that you need to grow and scale your venture. And I love it. I have met some of the dopest people who are doing amazing things in the world, from mental health to education to tech to nonprofits. There's a brother, we were up in New York. His name is Ruben Agbona, Marcy Lab School. So think about this, right? Think about, we had to, go to four-year schools or go into the military, different tips and types of things. He said, I've got this idea to create a tech school that's going to allow high school graduates to come and learn technology for 1 year, right? And then move into these big time tech firms making 6-figure incomes. We were there in New York a couple of weeks ago, and he was introducing me to some students. He was like, these students make 3 times more than I do to run this. Wow. Right? And they're 18, 19, 20 years old. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
Can you imagine that? And so that's what I get to do. I get to vet, source, and fund, and then support and mentor women and people of color who have great revolutionary ideas, right? And help them scale their venture.
Wow. So if somebody, wants to come to you with an idea or whatever, do they have to have a lawyer already, or what is that process if somebody wanted to pitch something to you?
So what we always say is, if you're pitching something, have your ducks in a row. You may not need to have a lawyer right now, but you might have a $1 billion idea, right? You're gonna want me to sign something to say, this is mine. So have your trademarks, have your ideas, have your legalities in a row, so somebody can't take your idea, right? Thinking about that. You say, I got this great idea for Amazon, and I pitch it to Jeff Bezos, and you don't have it trademarked, you don't have all your legalities ready, that's his.
Yeah.
So make sure that you have, before you start talking to folks, you know that this is protected, that this is your idea, that this is your venture, and that no one else can take it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
No worries.
I don't have any more questions after that. I mean, I'm like zoned in right now.
I kind of like that moment in the show when you're like,
when you like zoning that conversation, it's like, damn, what was I about to say? What was I about to say? So, I really don't have anything after that, man.
I'll be having stuff, but I don't be wanting to ruin the moment.
No,
I don't want to ruin the moment. Like, man, that was deep.
The Slim Predator always has something. You know?
Slim Predator.
That was
Oh man, look, you can't talk about my ass. You ain't gonna do that. If I'm talking about it,
there's a lot of wisdom in your heart. There's a lot of wisdom. You can tell when your pants is creased.
Man, you ain't lying, bro. Man, and when you got a thick stripe down your side, you got a whole lot to say too, boy. Let me tell you. Hey,
Yo, I will say that you were talking about pitching ideas and everything, and I actually had to learn this the hard way. I used to write and sell jokes to higher status comedians to pay rent, basically. And I was talking to a comedian and I was telling him about a movie I was writing. And as I was writing his jokes and getting him right for his show, he was writing down my conversation about the movie. And then next thing you know, I see my movie on Hulu. So it's like, I get it. I understand it. Like, but I was so young and ready to be like, listen, I got fired. Check this idea out. Like, I'm writing these jokes, but I can also do this. And now I know. Now I know about, before you talk about scripts and before you tell people, these jokes are yours, this is what you can use, this is what you can't. I learned how to copyright and how to, sometimes I'll even snap a picture of what I wrote and email it to myself so I can have that date down pat. Because you hear jokes all the time that you say on stage in different cities. I just left Myrtle Beach, California. I just left Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I did some work down in North Carolina, Winston-Salem, and then we did some work in Texas. And so it's like, now that I'm gone, are those people going to be using my jokes all throughout the... So it's like, how do you show your ownership? That's true. And I had to go down that road.
That's tough for comedians, man, because I know like Kevin Hart and them, they'll have people, actually lock up their phones and stuff like that for shows. But but if, back in the day when people were going to, comedy shows, they didn't have to worry about people recording their stuff. And, I'm sure people still stole jokes and stuff back then.
And there's still people who they have their own Instagram pages of jokes and stuff, and they'll have my content on there. And it's like, what can you do? Like, there's no way to stop every single blip that pops up that's saying either something you wrote, joked about in an interview, It's like, how do you maintain ownership? The answer was to just keep producing it on a larger level with the dates, just like my album on Spotify. That's right. Post-traumatic comedy.
Hey. Yes, sir.
Streaming on all platforms. But so you keep doing your projects bigger, better. You follow up on all your P's and Q's, you dot your I's, cross your T's, you make sure legality is taken care of, just like you say, and then you pitch to your ideas to larger companies, just like R Smooth. Like, hey, I'm a bad motherfucker. Here's my proof.
Right.
Work with me. And that's how we build that relationship. So
first thing, man, What's a Revolution is trademark. Like,
wow.
No, look, I'm coming for you.
Yes,
right,
sir.
Right. And that's the thing. The wonderful thing that you think about when it comes to trademarking is that you have the ability to then license. Like if somebody wants to use the likeness or somebody wants to use the What's Your Revolution brand, they got to come to me and we got to talk about what that looks like.
And you get residual income.
Exactly. And so that's the biggest thing. But any advice to a young entrepreneur when you have a great idea, vet it, have a close knit group of people, have it trademarked, have it copyrighted, have your intellectual property paperwork ready to go, and then start going out to folks, right? Especially when you have a great idea, when you think that, hey, this is something that is going to be transformative and that has the ability to scale and make money.
Have you ever had to learn the hard way like he did, or have you heard of any stories where anybody has been, may have wanted to pitch you something, but they had another idea that didn't work out, and somebody ended up running away with their idea?
I haven't had that. I haven't had that conversation with folks where somebody's stolen an idea. Usually, when folks come to us, we're in a place ready to help them go.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've actually, was watching an interview about some designer. It's like a high-end streetwear designer, and he was talking about how he was saying he was with his, I guess, some friend, or I don't know how good of friends they were, but they were working on his clothing brand, and it got big, and he didn't have it trademarked. Yeah. The dude took it, and he had no proof that he was even a part of it. Right. And then the guy asked him, he's like, what brand was, like, it was Primitive. And like, that's something I wore in high school.
Wow.
And I was like, still have one of the shirts at my house. I was like, wow, like I was buying that stuff in high school.
Is
like,
it a big shirt?
No, XL. Oh, XL to me is not that big. But yeah, like I still have that shirt, and like now he created something else, and now he's with Italian designers and stuff making that stuff. So.
And then there's still ways to get your money back. But then once you take the money, it's like you sign paperwork and stuff to say like, all right, I can't complain no more.
The important thing that you said that, hey, I'm gonna take a picture of this joke, because I always say all the time. So before I started my business, I journal like crazy. I journal ideas. Some of them to me might sound like, man, it's a stupid idea, but I'm gonna keep it. It's journal. I'm not gonna throw it away, because maybe in the next 5-6 years it might come up and say, okay, this is useful. Right. So I journal a lot, and I always tell like anybody, just if I'm just having a conversation, I'm like, look, don't ever throw away past ideas, because if you throw away your idea, guess what? Somebody in another state, in another country, is gonna fall out the sky. They're gonna get in their hands, and then you're gonna see a commercial saying, man, why did I think of the umbrella that folded inside out, right? Or why did I think of there's a pouch that slides in the crack of your seat, so when stuff falls out, it's like a little pencil. It doesn't even take a lot to even manufacture it. Yeah. So it's like common things like, damn, why didn't I think of that? Well, you did, but you just regretted it and you threw it away, and you didn't keep it on. So I always say journaling is important, and just like you say, you gotta have those receipts. Definitely, take a picture of it, whatever you can do. And of course, trademark incorporated is very, very important, y'all. One thing y'all can learn from this episode: if y'all pursuing business, make sure you trademark and incorporate. Trademark helps you nationwide. The incorporated helps you within the state. It's it takes money to pay to start a business too. It takes funds, but with the help of Camelback Ventures.
Yeah.
Hey, your dream can come true, and that's a blessing, because bump the Shark Tank shows. No, go to them. That's
Camelback Ventures is Aaron Walker, wonderful brother. And really thinking about. I talk about this to every entrepreneur, right? What's the gap that you can fill? And there was a gap, particularly in education at the time when we started, like education funding and ed tech. There wasn't a lot of people of color. There was a gap, and there wasn't a space for to say, where could we as a cadre come together, learn together, and then get some funding and then go out into the world. One of the things that we did as an organization, I have to say this, is that many times people get funded, right, but they don't get the support, the long-term support. So think about that. You come in, you get funded, you go through our accelerator, and oftentimes accelerators will push you out. Like, see ya, we've invested, bring us our money back. Right. But what we did was think about that us as a people, we have been supportive of each other. How do we continue that support? So we built a whole network of supports where we continued on, and then we were able to invest even larger amounts to them.
Wow.
Yeah, one of the things I want people to think about is that how do we pool our assets together as a community to build funds that then will allow us to then, take equity in companies that we can then, like, as the company scales, the whole community actually wins, right? Instead of saying, we have the Sequoias or the Revolution Capitals that are investing millions of dollars into these companies, and that our communities don't see any of that.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, really, the position that you've really placed yourself in is really like a gatekeeper for, bringing success and really generational wealth for our community. Yeah. So, I mean, I just commend you for that, man. Yeah, appreciate that.
No worries.
And also, I had a question, man. So, like, if somebody brings an idea to you and you do, if somebody were to bring an idea and y'all, came out, you said, okay, we're going to end up funding you. What is the payback? I guess, how would, you guys recoup your investment? I think that might be a question.
So what happens is say you have this idea, right? And we say we want to invest 10 million in your company. We'll keep it smaller. We want to invest $1 million in your company. So that means you probably have about a $10 million valuation, somewhere around there. We think when you exit the company or someone actually purchases your company, right? Or it IPOs, right? It goes onto the stock market, right? That's when the returns come. And people are hoping for 4, 5, 10x the times of money. So we'll keep it right. When you exit or another round of funding, say we got in at a pre-seed round at $1 million, we value the company at 10 million. At your next round of valuation, somebody comes in, Gavin comes in, right, and offers 20 million at a $200 million valuation, right? We could exit out and take our money from that point. Or we could reinvest and go back into the next fund.
Gotcha.
So those are the types of things that you're thinking about. When does the money count? Usually it's when either the company exits and they've been bought out, or there's another round of funding.
Gotcha.
But there's a whole lot of calculus, because what happens is, because Gavin came in, he dilutes some of my funds, right? My equity. So there's some tricky calculus that goes into it that you have to think about it. I have invested from an angel perspective, small amounts of money. And so when the next round of funding comes in, my returns aren't as big, but I've been that first money in. Right, and so exactly.
That stuff adds up at the end.
You can afford gas.
Well, more than gas. So one of the investments that I made a couple of years ago, we were just talking numbers. It was $15,000, investment. I'm gonna get a 5x return. So just thinking about that and what happens next. And so I think as you said, the term generational wealth, as we build generational wealth, we have to think about how do we invest, right, as a part of our revenue streams, right? And the government has what's called accredited investors, and you can look that up, what an accredited investor is. And how do we amass the amount of wealth where we can then become accredited investors, where we can get into more lucrative pools or syndicates and things like that, where there's a more lucrative pool of money, and you're investing with a group of people that look like you as well.
Gotcha.
Look, that's awesome. Well, look, we truly appreciate you, Dr. Charles Corprew, my good friend, and all of our friends, man. You truly taught us a lot, and I think it was very informative to our listeners and people that are watching. But look, we don't want you to go anywhere. You're gonna stay with us. We got one more conversation we're gonna bring up. We're gonna have a little fun before we end up the show. So this dude has he saved his locks, right? Did I get that right?
You did, you did. Yeah. So about a few months ago, I had been growing my locks. They weren't as long as yours yet, but they were probably about down here or so, a year's work, So I've been thinking about reattaching them. So my question to everybody is that cheating or not?
Well, I didn't even know that was a thing.
From a person with locks, that perspective, you grew that hair. You took the sacrifice. You went through the ugly stage. That's yours. That's yours. And you just had a mental breakdown.
Right.
And you lost your mind.
Exactly.
Luckily, technology has advanced to the point where you can fix that little scruff in your mental. You can fix that.
Yeah.
T-Pain did it. You know what I mean? Busta Rhymes did it. I'm never going. It's just when the hair got long, the checks got long.
Hey.
So I'm not cutting my hair, but you should be good. No one should be able to judge you for just reattaching. Think about how many women got in a fight and got their edges snatched. Then they come back the next day, got a full head of baby hair.
You right.
You see what I'm saying?
You're right. And that's not even there.
Zach, if you get in a
That's not
scruffle,
even-
man, what if a dude just
No, I'm gonna tell you though. One of the
my
main
God.
reasons why I cut them off was because my daughter, she just turned 1, and she been yanking them. I mean, like, and she even yanks my wife's hair right now.
When I say the cutest kid with a head full of hair. Your daughter has a
thank
lot
you.
of hair. How old is she?
She just turned 1 on April 29th.
Like
Yeah,
hair for
Taurus.
days. I'm just like,
yeah. Appreciate that. But yeah, man, I was like, oh, I gotta get rid of this just because, you know, and she's still in that phase where she's still yanking stuff right now.
Baby's got that grip though. Baby
So
got
I
that
might
strength.
not do it just yet, but you know, I feel like, you know, part of me died when I cut my hair off, man. You know what I mean?
Let's hear from the bald man. Let's hear from the bald man. What do y'all feel? 'Cause y'all just gave up. So
You know what? I'm on the opposite side, damn it. I'm on the opposite side. You're cheating. You're cheating. It ain't yours, damn it. Go away the hair stank problem. It's old. You know, just grow it back. Don't reattach that.
Not as
that
stank,
hair.
though.
Grow it back. It's stank. I said
Not
it's
as stank, though.
I don't know.
Okay.
Do you like keep it in the freezer or something? Like, how do you keep it like?
Well, maybe you can put some of this on here.
Okay, so we have to go.
that's healthy from the beard care.
For a war, right?
That's the beard care. That's the beard care.
That's why you got that vest on.
I take my earlier comment back. It is not a combat vest. It is a fishing vest. So
10 points for the ball, man.
you know what I'm saying? So
Crusty ankle, guys.
So I'm just wondering why do we come on a podcast with a fishing vest?
Wow. Okay.
But to answer your question, right? To answer your question, brother, if whatever makes you happy,
Appreciate it.
you know what I'm saying?
Word.
If you want to go around with re-engineered locks, you know what I'm saying?
Not re-engineered though.
Re-engineered
Okay.
locks, then hey, brother.
I feel like you're the first person to ever say it.
Hey, look, I was mind blown when he said that. Like, trademark. I gotta write that word down.
Trademark. What's your revolution?
Right.
It presents re-engineered locks.
Right.
Now watch him get reattached and his whole life changes. Like his status in life just.
I mean, when you reattach it, is it gonna like literally look the original?
okay.
Like, is it gonna look a little?
So you know when you
different?
get starter locks, you gotta grow your hair out. I think she said, cause my homeboy's girlfriend does them.
Mhm.
She does locks, and she reattaches them. So she said you have to have it at least 3 inches
Yeah.
for her to reattach it, and that's kind of what your length has to be to get starter locks too.
Gotcha.
You know, so from my understanding, you just kind of get starter locks and put them back
so
on top of
how
it.
the process goes is you get your required length to reattach them, and then after a few months, your hair locks with the extension, so it eventually becomes your actual lock.
Yeah.
And then when you surpass that length, you just cut it off, and you have your normal hair again. Anyway.
So is this hair dead? Like, or is this, I mean, how do you
As long
rejuvenate that hair?
As long as he's
Is it
storing
like
it
is it like
correctly.
infinite? Is it like Endgame?
As long as he's storing it correctly.
I mean, do you do this and it comes right back? I mean, I'm trying to figure it out.
It's in a Ziploc bag.
You gotta keep it under natural light. You get a natural light at all times.
Next to my it's.
But all jokes aside, man, it is your hair. So
Okay.
if you grow that, it's your hair.
Appreciate it.
Ciroc
You
is
didn't buy
right,
it.
man.
You didn't buy it.
I didn't
That's
buy
right.
it. I didn't buy it.
That's right. It is
Appreciate
your
it.
hair. That's your hair. So,
Appreciate it.
fellas, another great episode. We hot as hell over here because you know I got to turn this hair back on. But look,
Hey.
we truly appreciate again my good friend Dr. Charles
Yes, sir.
Corprew,
Yeah.
host of What's Your Revolution show, venture capitalist. How can we continue to support and follow your future? You know, what you got going on.
What's Your Revolution everywhere? Twitter, Spotify, SoundCloud, Instagram, Facebook. What's Your Revolution? Everywhere. Please listen to the show. Review, like, check us out. Also, go to Camelback Ventures. If you got a great idea with anything that you think is going to shift the world, particularly in tech, please go check us out. We take 2 classes a year. And so really, I employ people to think about how they're going to transform the world.
All right, fam. I would do a cheers, but it's hot. So I'm already gonna end the show off. We truly appreciate it. Y'all take care. Hey, tune in for the next episode of our Smooth Club podcast, the show where everyday men discuss everyday topics.
Peace.
That was dope. Appreciate it.
That was good. That was good.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so fun, man.
Oh man.